You're watching the Brother Henry and You Show.
Engaging. Informative. Inspirational.
Enjoy today's program.
Welcome to the Brother Henry and You Show. I am your host, Henry Harris. I am so delighted that you've taken this opportunity to watch me today. I want to come to you and share something with you that I really believe is relevant. And quite frankly, many people have been either misinformed or not informed at all as it relates to what I'm going to talk about. And today, I want to come and talk about the mind of a narcissist. Now, I've had a lot of people push me on this, like, I want you to talk about it. And then again, there have been those who have said, don't talk about it. But I decided to talk about it because I believe in doing so, it's going to set a lot of people free. And not only that, you will be able to identify and discover some traits and maybe some characteristics that you may see maybe in a friend or a husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, that I really believe will help you along the way. So I am so happy to join with you today to discuss a subject that is very dear to my heart. Believe it or not, several people suffer from narcissism. And for the record, let me say that a narcissist can be both male and female. As I had just mentioned here recently to a dear friend of mine, is that I do believe, however, that both parties can suffer from narcissism. I also believe that by large, women are victims. And I know this because I hear their stories, I hear their hearts, I hear what they go through all the time. But, and like I said, I don't want anybody to look at this and say, well, he's on one side more than he is the other one. I do believe that both men and women can have narcissistic behavior. But however, I do believe that women by and large do suffer the most. Sometimes we try to narrow this down to one gender, but I believe that in reality, both genders are involved. Today, I want to discuss not only what a narcissist is, but I want to also talk about some traits and some characteristics that we can look out for the betterment of ourselves. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to discover when you see a narcissist. Some of us probably live with one. Some of us have probably been with one in the past. But you know, I think we've all dealt with this one time or another in our life. Now, for the record, let me say this before we get into these traits. Just because you may see a trait or two of narcissism in a person's life doesn't necessarily mean that they are a narcissist. And I said that because what makes a person a narcissist, I believe personally, is what I call pattern. When you start seeing a pattern of behavior, a pattern of not changing, a pattern of not wanting to get better, a pattern of simply not wanting to do the right thing. And we'll go further into this here in a few minutes. So I don't want you to go like on a hunt with your wife or your husband or your boyfriend or girlfriend or your significant other and say, oh, you know, they're a narcissist. They could be, but I wouldn't take one or two experiences and say, oh, that's what they are, because they may not be. Maybe they were having a bad day. Maybe they were angry. Maybe they were expressing their emotions in some way. I'm not by any means diminishing that who you're connected to may be a narcissist, but I'll leave that up to you to determine. So what is a narcissist by definition? A narcissist is someone who has excessive interest in or admiration of themselves. In other words, it's all about them and not about you. A narcissist is also a person who thinks the world revolves around them. I really believe in my heart that this is a disorder in which a person has an inflated sense of self-importance. Unfortunately, many of us have been connected to a narcissist or even married to one, but when we fail to see the red flags or the signs, partly because some people either don't believe it or maybe they are in denial in what they're seeing. And it's okay, because I've even learned from experience that a lot of people pretend very well. And many times in the early stages of marriage or relationship, sometimes we don't always see the signs. Sometimes we don't always see the red flags. And sometimes by not doing so, a result of that can lead to potential devastation. Now, the most dangerous thing you could do is ignore the potential signs of narcissistic behavior, because in doing so, it can create many issues, not only in your personal life, but also in your relationship. I've heard people say after experiencing this behavior, I didn't really believe what I saw. How come I ignored the early stages of it? If I caught it earlier, maybe I wouldn't be in the predicament that I am in now. And I've talked to several people who have suffered under people who had narcissistic behavior, and they truly regret that they didn't see the signs ahead of time, because it would have saved them a lot of headache, a lot of trouble along the way. Here's another important note you need to know. If you are a victim of someone who has experienced narcissistic behavior prior to developing a new relationship, I would like to encourage you to seek complete restoration and healing. It is very important, because if you're not careful, you will take that hurt right into the next relationship, and you may start convincing yourself that your current spouse is just like the rest of them. And to be honest with you, I've been there in the past. And a lot of it comes from, my ex hurt me, my ex violated my trust, my ex was a narcissist. And let's say you want to go into a new relationship with someone else, but you're still holding on to what they did. Well, let me ask you this question. Is it fair to the person that you're with? I'll give you a second to think about that. Well, I thought about it. I don't believe it is fair to the person that you're with. And that's why I want to encourage you that if you've been under this intense pressure of narcissism, if you've been hurt by someone who may have these traits, it is very important that you get that dealt with. And I really believe when it comes down to it, it is a heart issue. I will not encourage and neither suggest you to even move into a new relationship if you still suffer with this. So even to think that is very disheartening. Even to think that shows that you were never truly ready to move on. One of many ways we know a person is not fully healed is because they start comparing their last relationship to the current one with such things like, you are just like them. How many times we've heard people say that? Well, you're just like them, or they're all the same. And let me let you guys know, I've been in some, I wouldn't say all my relationships in the past were bad, but I've had some rocky relationships. I've been with narcissists before, so I don't want anybody to think that I'm putting everybody in the same bucket, so to speak. I don't believe all men are the same. I don't believe all women are the same. But when they tell me that, I totally get where they're coming from, because they've had some bad experiences in their life. Much of it comes from narcissism. Another saying that a lot of people say is, I know who you are. They never tell you, but their image of you is filtered through their past experiences with a narcissist. It all originates back to the mind. We can create a thought and we can convince ourselves that what we believe about a person is reality, when in all actuality, it's really not reality. It's just in our minds as it relates to your new spouse. This kind of mindset towards your new spouse is not healthy, and can lead to sometimes separation. How many of y'all learning something today? Everyone you come in contact with, I want you to understand, is not a narcissist. Imagine being in a relationship with someone who has already made up their mind about you, and they really don't even know you, but based on their past experiences, they've already made up their mind about you. Nothing you say really makes a difference, because in their eyes, you're just like the rest of them. So I believe that it is imperative. I believe that it is important that you know some of the major traits and characteristics of a narcissist. And if you would allow me, I would like to give you 12 of them as we go to a close. Now, here's some traits of a narcissist. Number one, a narcissist is never wrong about anything. Now, how many would agree with that? A narcissist is never wrong about anything. In other words, they're blameless. Let's say you get in a dispute with your spouse or whatever, and we're going to get into this later on down in some of these traits. But let's say you get in a dispute. You know, sometimes some people have emotions. You know, sometimes narcissists are emotionless people, and they just simply don't care. The blame is always shift from them to you. You know why? Because you're always the issue. You're always the problem. They never take ownership. That's what I'm trying to say. They always shift the blame to you. Some abusers even go as far as saying harsh things to their spouse, or some of them even go as far as creating a hostile environment for their spouse, mental abuse, physical abuse. And if they do that to their spouse, their excuse is, well, the reason why I did that because it was something that you did or triggered me to do. And I want to let you know that it was never your problem. It was never your issue. They struggle with that insecurity themselves. So you can't get a narcissist to admit when they're wrong, because in their minds, and I'm being honest with you, in their minds, they really believe that they're right about everything. You can't reason with a narcissist because that's just the way their mindset is. So number two, a narcissist have a difficult time maintaining healthy relationships. A lot of times in marriages and relationships, it's really hard living with a narcissist because you know you know who you're dealing with. You know what this person is all about. Well, it was 10, 20, 30 years. You actually know who you're dealing with. So sometimes, at times, it makes it really difficult to have a healthy relationship with a narcissist. Number three, a narcissist is unapologetic. How many believe that? They never apologize about anything. They never say, I'm sorry. They never say, you know what I said to you was wrong. You know what I did to you was wrong. They're unapologetic. They really don't apologize. And if they are sorry, they're really not sorry. Number four, a narcissist has psychopath extremes behaviors. And we see that quite a bit. They can be sweet. Sometimes they can be charming. Sometimes they can be intelligent. But internally, they really don't give a flip about you. They really don't. And I talked about pretending earlier. Do you remember when I talked about that? They do that quite well. And that's why it's important that you need to learn to identify these, because sometimes they do have some type of extreme behaviors. Number five, they are professionals in creating plots and setting you up for failure. And I've seen that happen quite a bit in a lot of people's lives. And they are professionals, they are perfect, and sometimes you'll never know, but sometimes a narcissist will try to set you up for failure. They'll try to set you up for disappointment. They'll try to set you up for all of these things, and many times we don't even know, partly because many times we don't even see what's going on. So number six, a narcissist has a history of being unreasonable, unaccommodating, difficult, and obstructive. It's like trying to do a business deal with a person who's not talking, not trying to relate to you, not listening, not trying to come up with a deal. How can you create a business deal with a person who's unreasonable? That's the way a narcissist operates. That's the mind of a narcissist. They're not trying to reason with you. They are difficult to deal with. They are difficult people to deal with. Number 7, a narcissist has to be in control. Would it be beautiful to be in a relationship where neither party is controlling each other? But a narcissist has to be in control of every little thing that happens in your life. Or sometimes they think they have control when in reality they really don't. Number 8, a narcissist has an expectation that others will agree and go along with what they want and the desires that they have against you. How many of you have seen that happen a time or two? I've seen it happen. I talked about plots earlier. Sometimes they do that. They get people to go along with them to bring you down or to bring you to your demise. That's the mind of a narcissist. Number 9, a narcissist is selfish. They lack emotions. And they are very closed-minded. How many ever tried to talk and communicate with a closed-minded person? It never works because nothing you say is really getting through these. They say they hear you, but they really don't. They say they're listening, but they really don't. Number 10, a narcissist has a sense of entitlement. They feel like they are entitled to it, or if they have something, they feel like, well, I deserve this. You know how I talked about self-importance earlier? That's what narcissists are. I'm entitled to this, and I deserve this. I deserve to have this. While all along, they don't care about what you are entitled to or what you could have. Number 11, narcissists can be very manipulative. They can be very conniving, very deceiving, and they do that very well. And number 12, a narcissist often lies and makes frequent exaggerations. We see this happening all the time. Now, I know this is a short message, but I really believe that what I shared today will really help many of you today to identify narcissism at its best. And I hope there was something that I've shared that would help you along the way. And I pray that if you find yourself in this situation, pray and ask God for guidance. Pray and ask God to lead you and direct you. But at the same time, know your worth and also know this: you do not have to put up with it.
Hi, my name's Heather. Thank you for watching the Brother Henry and You show today. If you've enjoyed the show today, visit us at facebook.com/The Brother Henry and You show. Thank you for watching and have a blessed day.